Good morning and happy Friday. Made it to the end of the week. Hopefully you've had a good one and are ready for the weekend ahead, nearly the end of the month. So very exciting times to be near the end of the year. How are you feeling about that? I think I'm pretty excited to put 2020 behind me and move on into the new year pretty with a clean slate. So let's today use our ball. So preferably not a hard one. You want it to have a little bit of give. I'm using my spiky one that I have. Again, it's not hard spikies, but it's just it's not too soft, but it does hold up to me standing on it and stuff. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to actually sit on it. So you want to find the place that's like right between both of your sitting bones. Before we've had it underneath one sitting bone or the other. This time it's going to be right between both of your sitting bones. You're going to see if you can just sit right on top of that ball and just take a couple of breaths and kind of allow your body to settle over it in all these different directions. You can think of yourself a bit like a chicken resting on top of an egg. That's my image that I have, and I'm protecting my little egg from falling out either side of the nest. So I should have said before, you want to be onto a chair, feet nice and firm onto the ground so they feel like they're you're not having to kind of really reach your feet down to reach the floor. You're just resting there comfortably. And you're starting to take your deeper breaths in through the nose and just allow them to escape out of the open mouth. So just a few breaths. Just allowing your mind to start to settle into this space, into your body this morning. Noticing energy levels, just noticing what you're feeling today. Maybe you could start to grow a little bit taller, really lifting up from the bottom of your rib cage as you breathe right down into those lower ribs. Let's lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then exhale and just drop them down. Do that 3 more times. Last 2 times. Last time. And then still growing tall, try to keep that length and see if you could just start to lean slightly forward. Again, no bending through the spine here. We're thinking about taking the belly button down towards the thighs and then have a little lean back. So you're still getting really long, no bending with the spine. You might not go that far, that's fine. Just a little lean forward, a little lean back. Right over the top of the ball that you're sitting on. Just taking a few breaths as you're moving. It might be nice to inhale as you go forward and then exhale as you go back. So just do that 1 more time forward, 1 more time back. And then we're going to see if rather than just moving the whole torso forward and back, you can start to actually tip your pelvis. So you want to see if you can tuck your tailbone under and then untuck it and send it slightly back behind you. So maybe being on top of the ball will slightly help with this, going under and then coming back through and going the other way, untucking the tail. So still really keeping tall with the rest of the spine. I'm kind of putting my hands into my hip joints to really feel what's happening there. Just do that once more, tucking forward and then untucking to go back. And then come to the center, grow up nice and tall. Now we're going to think of sending one knee forward and then the other knee. So I'm just letting my torso move with me You can kind of feel how when you rotate through a little bit through the pelvis, and you're actually rotating right over the top of the ball, you're getting this slight movement of your shoulders, of your head, going one way and then the other way. So just notice what that's like for you. And then see if you can keep that pretty still and just rotate, or just actually send one knee forward and the other knee forward. Just noticing what it's like now to keep your body still and just have a slight little movement side to side of the pelvis. So we're just letting the lower half of the body move, upper half of the body stays where it is. Just a little bit of movement there. And then come back to the center. Now you're just going to take your hand, find somewhere to just kind of rest your hand up against. I'm on the side of my chair. I'm going to lift up through my left arm, start to reach down with my right arm, up with my left arm, and that'll start to just take me over to the side a little bit. I'm going to start to breathe into this left side. And I'm letting my left sitting bone drop over the top of the ball and closer to the chair. And then exhale and start to let that arm come back down. We're going to swing up through the right arm, swing down through the left arm, and do the same thing to the other side. So we're being pulled up and over with that hand, with that arm, taking a deep breath into the right side. Letting that right sitting bone just drop over the ball so you're keeping pretty even weight beneath you. And then come back up and over to the first side. Really reaching this time. You can add in your little bit of movement here if that feels good. You could just add in maybe a little bit of rotation forward and rotation back, only if that feels good for your spine. I'm taking my gaze up onto my hand. That feels pretty good to look up. And just feel that arm kind of moving. Maybe you want to take a big circle in this direction. Round back the other way. That might feel quite nice for you. And then back over into that little side bend, up into the center. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So lift up, come on over, and maybe doing a little bit of rotation forward. Just doing whatever movement feels good for you this morning. Quite like that big circle on the other side, so I'm going to do that same thing here. Just following my hand with my gaze as it goes. And then I'll come back into my side bend, come back up, and come back to the center. Okay, last thing we're going to do here, so feel free to take out the ball from underneath you at any point if it feels way too uncomfortable, but hopefully you're still doing okay with it there. We're going to take the hands out in front so that your palms are just resting gently together. Draw the shoulder blades down the back so that they're not coming up towards the ears. And you're going to start to just imagine a bar of soap between your hands that you could take in your right hand and start to rub it against the left. So your left hand is staying pretty stationary. But you're just creating some soap bubbles underneath into your right hand with that bar of soap. And then you're going to start to take that bar of soap across the other arm, across the left arm, across the chest, and start to reach it out behind you. Nice big deep breath in. You're looking back at your right hand, and then you're going to slowly swing that arm around back to the front. Maybe you'll notice that arm is slightly longer than the other one. Give it a little rub that bar of soap between the two hands. And then start to, again, take it across that left arm, across the chest, all the way around. Arms are now pointing in different directions. Nice big deep breath in, and then close that arm back together. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So now take your bar of soap into your left hand, rub it against the right. And you're taking it across the right arm now, back behind you. Nice big deep breath in, exhaling to close that together. One last time. Nice little bar of soap, creating lots of suds so that it just slips and slides across your chest and out behind you. And then take that back around. Okay, I'm going to take my ball out now. And just notice now what it's like to sit here without anything underneath you. You'll just notice that it feels a bit more spacious to sit onto your chair and a little bit easier just to sit upright. I don't know if, but for me, it feels like it's released some of these muscles around my lower back and pelvis just to allow me to sit up a little bit taller. So there's all these muscles around the pelvic floor that don't often get a chance to release, and that's a good way to do it. You know, even men have a pelvic floor. They need to release those muscles as well. It's not just us women. So that's a good way to allow that to happen. I quite like to do that just when I'm working at my desk. You know, it's very inactive. You don't have to do anything. You just place the ball underneath you and it does its work for you. So now place your hands right into the front of your hip joints. You'll feel this little depression where you can actually stick your finger into. You might feel a little bit of a hard surface underneath there. And actually, if you tense up your thigh muscle, you'll really feel there's a big kind of tendon feeling thing under there that you can place your finger onto. So I want you to just place your fingers into either side and then try lifting one leg up from the floor. And notice that probably gets pretty hard underneath your finger as you try to lift your leg up. And you might even kind of feel your body wanting to help you lift that leg on either side. So just try that a couple more times. So noticing what happens with you initially. And then pause for a second. See if you can start to soften through that little bit of what's underneath your finger. See if you can keep that soft now. Maybe you want to think about picking up your leg from the back. So it's almost like someone's taken their hands and picked up your leg from underneath, so that you don't have to work through this where your hands are placed onto your hips. You can work from somewhere else. And maybe what needs to happen first is that you just lift your heel away from the floor. You peel up your heel and then see what it's like to keep that switched off. This idea of someone picking up your leg from underneath and then slowly, gently placing it back down. Try that a couple of times on each side. Maybe just lifting the heel first, peeling it away right up through to the toes, and gently lifting that up off of the floor. Then to the other side, doing the same thing, trying to keep that pretty switched off. One more time to each side. Just seeing, you know, maybe you need to stand a little bit more down into your other leg that's not moving. That can help to really give you some grounding, so you feel like you're just being picked up from the underneath side. And then we're going to actually do that. So take your hand and place it underneath that leg so that you can really just allow that leg to switch off. You can sit up nice and tall. Stand down into the foot that you've left into the onto the ground, and just see if you can start to bend and straighten that leg a little bit, keeping the height of your spine and trying to keep a real softness through the front of the thigh, through the front of where your hand was placed previously. Just try that a couple of times, just noticing what that's like for you. Just letting the bottom of the leg be nice and loose. We're not really working too hard through the bottom of the leg either. And then gently let that leg release back down. Try the same on the other side. So imagine you're being scooped up from underneath, and then actually take your hands, scoop that leg, and just let it fully release into the arms, into the hands. Just let it fully switch off the front of the leg and see if you could start to just bend and straighten. Notice that, you know, I'm not getting it all the way straight out. That's absolutely fine. You're just going so far as you're not feeling like you're going to grip on through the front of the leg. And just notice what's happening for you as you do this. Good morning, Rod. Welcome. Having a good day so far. And then slowly, gently allow that leg to release down. Now go back to just trying that again. Maybe it's gotten a little bit easier after doing that second little exercise. Just notice what that's like for you. I'm going to take the feet a little bit wider. So I like to look at the feet of my chair and just take my heels in line with that, and then just slightly rotate the feet out. So come back to that exercise that we've done before of letting your knees kind of draw you out to either side. Maybe that takes your torso around and your shoulders are kind of turning too. Notice that with your legs a little bit wider, it might feel a little bit like you get a little bit more movement here, maybe not. Notice what's going on for you. And then leave your torso where it is. Just allow your knees to do that movement, your pelvis to do that little bit of movement side to side. Just do that one more time to either side. And then come back to the center. And again, just let your heels lift up one at a time, peeling the heel away, and then slowly lowering it back down. Notice again what's happening through the front of your hips. So can you keep pretty soft and turned off through the front of the leg, front of the thigh, as you're just peeling your heel away. Let's try that one more time on either side. We're going to do this against the wall in a second, so just want you to feel what it's like to do this on the ground, while you're seated, I should say. One more time each side. Notice maybe some different muscles are turning on when you do it with your legs in this wider position. And then come on up to standing. So let me get my chair out of the way. And you want to find a little bit of space on your wall. This is the space I am going to choose. And kind of got the radiator in the way, so I don't have too much room. You're going to stand about maybe 1.5 feet if you use your own feet for measurement, away from the wall, and then just come back to lean on it. And we want to feel like you can get the back of your pelvis, the back of your ribs, and the back of your head up against the wall. And just notice what it's like to stand here initially like that. Nice big deep breaths in. Exhale, see if you can just let some more of your ribs settle against the wall. Maybe your head doesn't want to go all the way back. That's absolutely fine. You can just leave a little bit of space there. And then with your next exhalation, you're going to have a little look down at your feet. Start to bend your knees so that you come into a little 90-degree angle at your knee joints. You don't want your knees to be ahead of your ankles, so if you need to readjust your feet, just go ahead and do that now. It's like you're sitting onto your chair, but you don't have anything underneath you now. And see if you can, again, find this lovely place where your sacrum is up against the wall, your ribs are too. Head doesn't have to be if it feels like you're forcing anything. Place your hands into the front of your hips and just see if you can start to peel your heel away one at a time. Just notice what that's like to do that here, sitting up against the wall. Could you peel your whole foot away and lift through the leg on either side? What is that like for you? So you have to really find your balance here through your foot that's on the floor. And that's why, practicing in the chair can be a really good place to start for this. Maybe try one more on each side. Notice how that's going for you. And then find your place where you can just come back up. Take your feet a little bit wider, as wide as they were when you were sitting on your chair. A little bit of rotation here, and come back down into that same position. This might be an easier place for you to hang out. Just notice what that's like for you. Try doing the same thing, just lifting up one heel at a time. I probably can't lift a foot. My feet are a little bit too wide. And then go ahead and bring yourself back up. Take the feet all the way back in and give your legs a little bit of a shake here. Let's bring our chair back. Come back to seated. And Just going to take the legs out in front. Grow up nice and tall. Exhale and start to just lean forward so that you're coming down towards the tops of your thighs with your belly button, keeping your spine nice and long. Taking a big deep breath, maybe flexing your feet towards you and pointing them away, just kind of feeling that lengthens the back of the legs a little bit more as you move your feet. Just do that a couple of times. And then walk yourself back up to seated. Find a place that feels really comfortable. I'm going to sit into my chair today for my little bit of body scanning and meditation. So maybe you want to be there, maybe you want to be on the, maybe you're more comfortable on the floor. Find a place where you're going to feel just nice and settled in, nice and relaxed, so that you can just begin to close the eyes down. Start to just allow your thoughts to be a little bit more still. Find some stillness here for yourself. Just taking your attention to the crown of the head so that you can be aware of any sensations going on there. No other thoughts going through your mind, but just what's happening today in the crown of my head. Is there any tingling, any pain, any lack of pain? Maybe there's an absence of feeling. Who knows what's going on for you? Just take your awareness and notice that for yourself today. And begin to scan on down through the front of the face, past the eyes, past the nose, and past the mouth. Scan on down past the sides of the head, past the ears. Again, just picking up, being aware of any sensations, any tension, lack of tension, heat, cool, absence of any sensation, just being aware of this for yourself. Scanning down through the back of the head, the back of the neck, front of the neck, and then scanning through the shoulders. Tops of the shoulders for now, just noticing any sensations around the shoulder blade, around the collarbone, and then just dropping down into the tops of the arms, the elbows, the forearms. Again, being aware of any sensations through the hands. Maybe there's an impatience there, maybe there's a calmness, a stillness. Just noticing that for yourself. So you scan on down through the chest, the abdomen and the belly, back up through the spinal column, and down through the upper back, the mid back, and the lower back. Again, just being aware of any sensations. Maybe you're usually in pain and there's no pain there today. Or maybe there's a new sensation that you haven't felt before. Just noticing. And scan down through both buttocks, both thighs, down past the knees, the lower legs, and right down into those feet. Just spreading the toes apart and relaxing them. And then take the attention and the awareness back to the breath. Really feeling gratitude for each molecule of oxygen that you're breathing in right now, keeping you alive, keeping you active, keeping your brain working. And then just seeing if you can allow the mind to settle just onto thinking about the breath. For 5 minutes of silence, counting the breath if that's useful to you from 1 to 10, and then back around to 1 again. We'll begin that 5 minutes of silence right now. So just beginning to bring your awareness back into the space around you, moving your fingers, feeling the textures, moving your wrists and your shoulders, taking those last couple of deep breaths. And just opening your eyes, ready for your Friday ahead. And I will see you back here for our last weekend together on this Facebook Live of mindful movement and mindfulness. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.